The Herta space station is home to some rather unique oddities. Herta herself has this really weird obsession with collecting curios, spending an exorbitant amount of time and money in obtaining them. Among her collections are some rather interesting items, such as a glider from Tevat and a magical conch that for some reason whispers dirty jokes. There is one curio, however, that is mentioned by the Stellaron hunters, specifically Silver Wolf, that she finds rather interesting, and this is the rating gun. A rather weird curio that is able to give a rating to every person it lays its mechanical eye on. Nobody really knows what these ratings are based on and what the numbers it blurts out even means, but every character you bring to it will undoubtedly be given a number. There are, however, a handful of characters that for some reason are unable to receive ratings, with the gun responding with an invalid rating response. Two such characters are March 7th and Sampo. But what do these two characters have in common, and is there some connection between them that has yet to be revealed? That's what we'll be discussing in this video. Before we do though, if you want to see more Honkai Star Rail content, do consider subscribing to the channel. When you bring either of these characters to this gun, the response that you would get is the following. Rating invalid. Its eyeball swivels around 3 times before suddenly widening. After a brief impasse, its eye shuts warily. It seems to imply that the gun isn't fully able to quantify these two characters, which is really odd. Figuring out why this is the case is not an easy task either. We know very little about March 7th given she was found in a block of ice floating around in the vast emptiness of space. She herself doesn't remember anything of her past, not even her real name. Sampo is just as equally enigmatic. While he appears as a simple but morally questionable businessman, his affiliations and the fact that he literally broke the fourth wall makes him incredibly sus as well. On top of that, neither of these two characters have anything in common, at least as far as we know. Now earlier I mentioned that these two make up a small subset of characters who receive this invalid rating from the gun, but there is one other person, Jing Yuan. While we don't know much about March and Sampo, we do know a little bit more about Jing Yuan, and one personal detail he has may be a clue that can tie these three characters to each other. If you didn't know, Jing Yuan is actually an emanator for the Eon of the Hunt, Lan. While most Eons don't really pay much attention to the mortals of the Star Rail universe, occasionally there are individuals who resonate so strongly with a path or interests and Aeons so much that they may directly grant them a portion of their own power. In Jing Yuan's case, it's likely that because the Xianzhou Alliance is allied with Lan, he has distributed some of his abilities and power to the leader of each Xianzhou ship. These individuals are known as emanators and are considered to be extremely powerful individuals, having the direct blessing of their respective eons. It might be possible that due to his status and innate strength, the gun is unable to rate Jing Yuan appropriately, giving us this response. If this was truly the case, this could be a clue that indicates the truth behind March and Sampo's past. Is it possible that both these characters are in fact emanators of other eons? Now, you might think that it's unlikely for characters like March or Sampo to be emanators, given their comparatively low profile within the major players of the universe. Jing Yuan, after all, is one of the 8 generals of the Xianzhou Alliance, while March is just some random Instagram addict and Sampo is literally a conman. However, both of them may actually have some law associated to them that may indicate they are emanators, or at least make it possible. Let's talk about Sampo first. Sampo is obviously an extremely suspicious individual. While he initially comes off as a generic comic relief conman, by the end of the Belobog campaign, it's revealed that he has some connection to groups outside of Belobog and may not even be from there. It's also implied that he has some connection with the Eon of Elation. The biggest case for him being Aha's emanator is the fact that at the end of a particular cutscene, he outright breaks the fourth wall and talks to the audience. This is very similar to what the Eon of Elation, Aha, itself did when the main character entered the simulated universe. Whereupon meeting Aha, it immediately knew it was in a simulated world despite several attempts at reprogramming him by Herta and her team. So in Sampo's case, it is possible that he is on the same level as someone like Jing Yuan, assuming these affiliations turn out to be true. March, on the other hand, is a whole other issue altogether. At this point in the story, her lore hasn't really been fully explored or even hinted at. All we know about her origins is that she was found by the Nameless floating in space encased in ice. It also took Welt, Himeko, and the third unknown Nameless a really long time to free her from this prison, indicating that it might not be any ordinary chunk of ice. In her character story part 2, March's ability to control ice is referred to as six-faced ice, but by her own admission, she has never seen it that way. To March herself, the ice she controls is more akin to some kind of condensed crystal rather than actual ice, which is an important distinction that may indicate her potential source of power and position. There is actually one eon which fits this description of crystal-like ice, and that is the eon of Remembrance, Fuli. In the simulated universe, Fuli is described to often appear as a humanoid figure carved out of crystal. The Remembrance path in the simulated universe is also known to be associated with freezing and ice. If that wasn't enough, the Eon of Remembrance is also somewhat obsessed with cataloging and collecting the memories and events that occur within the universe. Even its followers, the Garden of Recollection, venerate it through creating light cones, snippets or slices of significant memories and events that occur in the universe. It seems that this habit of capturing and collecting memories is something that March 7th does as well, by taking in pictures and immortalizing the journey she is currently experiencing. Now, this isn't definitive proof or anything, but there does seem to be a strong connection between March and the Eon of Remembrance. Perhaps she used to be related to Fuli in some way and could even be one of her emanators, but her powers now sealed away or lost along with the memories of her past. An even more outlandish idea is that since Fuli appears wherever in the universe that a significant event will or has occurred, perhaps March being on the Astral Express isn't a coincidence, and she is set up to stand alongside the person who will likely end up killing an Aeon, the Trailblazer or DMC. Why the followers of the Garden of Recollection have not shown themselves to her aboard the train if she really is associated with Fuli is the hole within this idea. Perhaps they just don't remember her or something. Either way, it's rather suspicious that Jing Yuan, Sampo, and March, who largely have little connection with each other, are connected through the fact that the rating gun simply cannot rate them. One possible explanation at this time is the fact that they may all be emanators and house power far beyond what a curio can comprehend. Closer to reality though is perhaps the idea that the gun is just some random curio that rates these characters without much thought or reason, and the three of them being unrated is merely coincidence. Now, most of this is just theory and conjecture, and without any further expansions into their story, we won't know for sure if this really is the case. As I mentioned, perhaps the gun is really just defective, and there is no deeper mystery to be gleaned here. But I prefer to think that there is one, and as fun and bubbly as March is, the fact remains that we really just don't know that much about her. I'll end the video here though. Let me know in the comments why you think these three specifically are unrateable, and if you enjoyed the video, do consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. As usual, have a nice day.